Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang. And again, you wonder where's Kathy? Kathy's busy packing, as I shared with you last show that she will be embarking on a cross-country journey. Okay, as we move from the West Coast to the East Coast. All right. But we'll continue our program with Kathy temporarily absent. All right. And so today we're talking about a few very interesting story. One is the Tesla cannot drive close a very famous beach resort in China. The type of car just cannot enter that city. And you wonder why. There's some very interesting answer there, lying there. The second is, okay, then the Russian President Putin made a very bold speech yesterday and asserting its position on the Ukraine war. And what is it? I'll be reporting that to you. If you remember, Leo Thomas, a transgender swimmer, won the NCAA 400 freestyle and incurred a huge national debate. And now the FINA, which is FINA, the swimming, authority made a decision on how to treat an issue like this. Finally, the Texas State Republican Convention passed a set of very bold resolution. And for that, we have to talk about that on the Safe Chat. So prepare halfway through. We'll be switching to Safe Chat so that you can get the full scoop of the news. All right, so with no further ado, we'll just start today's news. And in the meantime, by the way, just making sure you can click the subscription. Sometimes you may got unsubscribed for whatever reason, and also click the like if you, assuming you like us, and also just turn on the all notification with that little bell, and this would all help this program spread to more people. Okay, and now let's talk about, okay, as of now, the police in the city, coastal city, okay, it's a beach resort actually. The city's name is called Beidaihe. This Beidaihe Police Department issue a directive saying that no Tesla can drive into the city in the next 2 months, starting July 1st through August 31st. And you wonder why Tesla cannot go into the city. Can you guess why? Let me pause a little bit. Okay, make your guess, and then you can type in there, in the chat room, and share why so. What's your guess? What could be the guess? What could be the reason? Tesla cannot go into the city. Just think about it in this country. If there's a certain city Tesla cannot drive into, or even like Ford cannot go there, Toyota cannot go there. How absurd that is. What could be the reason? All right. Okay, before I give you the answer, let's back up a little bit. So this year is a very important year. It's a very important year for the current general secretary or the chairman of the China or the chairman of the China Military Committee, and those three top positions. Okay, just on one body, and this is Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is facing the 20th CCP Congress. All right, which will decide whether he would be able to continue into next term. And if you remember that he has already done away with this term limit. So if he continue with this one, chances are he gonna another 5 years consolidate his power. So he will be there forever, lifetime term in another way. So okay, so the 20th Party Congress will be happening sometime, in the remainder of the year. They never announce it. They never pre-announce it. At a certain point, they will start the meeting. And then this is a different meeting from any like a Republican Congress, a Republican convention, or the Democratic convention, during which you speak, you debate, you present. Finally, there's a vote that produces the result of the convention. No, there's no vote there. Okay, so before the parties convention, CCP parties convention or their Congress started, everything has to be settled already. All the decision has been made, all the position have been filled, and then there has to be some private meeting, very, very important, a private meeting in which you make all the compromise, you have your fight, and you fight whatever way to get your position or get your sect's position or your power in the next 5 years. Those private meetings happen in this city called Beidaihe. So if you take maybe our Tony can show you the map of the Beidaihe. It's to the east. It's to east of Beijing, about several hundred miles. It's a coastal city and very beautiful. Okay, very beautiful city. So before any major CCP Congress, those senior leaders they would travel to this Beidaihe and held a series of private meeting in which they bargain and negotiate, and then they allocate all the position among all the sects. All right, so that's what happened. So that's why this big so-called 20th Party Congress, there's no starting date because it depends, right? They need to figure out when we reach a final compromise. Then they announce that they will have this Congress. So now, Tesla, with all its camera capability, digital capability. So in the eyes of CCP, basically Tesla is a computer, is a supercomputer, that on mobile, a mobile supercomputer that can move around, capture things, and hear things, and translate through backdoor the data into the US. That's their perception. All right. So they issue this order saying that no Tesla would drive into it. So think about that, folks. In China, a Tesla Model Y costs like 80,000 US dollars. I think probably more. All right, and then you just buy something like that. You cannot drive through certain cities because this is not the first time. Last year in the Chengdu, which is a provincial capital of Sichuan, Sichuan, the spicy food, Sichuan province, and then because of Xi Jinping was visiting there, and the police set up the perimeter saying that no Tesla can drive into it. And by the way, for the certain military district, Tesla cannot drive close to, because Tesla, different from other vehicles, this is a computer on wheel. It's too scary. Okay, so what does this reveal? Some commentator I read from the Voice of America, they said this is because Chinese government does not trust Tesla. True, that's true, of course, but that's not to the point yet. If I want to make my comment, okay, if I share with you with my observation about what is the reason behind this, is the other way around. Okay, it's Chinese Communist Party or the Chinese government know how scary is the data theft is. Okay, they being swamped, U.S. with their app and tools such as WeChat, such as TikTok, such as called the Little Red Book. You are increasingly heard about this Little Red Book. And then their drones, virtually 90% of home or business security system, all produced in China. Okay, then there's this Huawei mobile phone and the Zhongxin mobile phone, and just a number of things like Alibaba's tools. Okay, so for virtually every tool, not virtually, for every tool from China, digital tool, there's a backdoor and funneling data to the party. You may say, how do you know? What's your evidence? Okay, how can you be so certain? Okay, let me just share with you the base that I have is in the China's law, saying that any organization, any private company has to provide data to the intelligence or the national security should they ask you to. Okay, and they ask everybody. So this past on Friday, this news just broke. Okay, BuzzFeed reported last Friday that the TikTok, remember, now we already have almost like I think 100 million users, can be and are being assessed by China. So although TikTok has said publicly, repeatedly, all right, including at the Senate hearing, that it physically stores all data about its U.S. users in the U.S. with backups in Singapore. Okay, now 86 leaked audio from TikTok internal meeting reveals that engineers working for ByteDance is TikTok's parent company, a China company. In China, ByteDance in China could see everything. Okay, the report says this. Evidence is so damning, okay, that with U.S. employees of TikTok need either not having permission to or knowledge of how to access the U.S. user data themselves. Instead, someone in China had to access for them for U.S. engineers with at least one ByteDance engineer in Beijing referred to as a master admin. For those of you in the high-tech industry, in the software industry, you understand what is master of admin. Master of admin means you have the most, security level. You can access everything. All right. So we're talking about the TikTok engineers in this country, U.S. engineer, cannot access the data. They have to go through China, ask them to access it for them. China have it all. China have it all. All right. So that's why I say, talking about the WeChat, the little red book, Himalaya, which is the audio, audio tool, and the Weibo, and then there are Alibaba and all the tools like, drones and mobile phones, everything has backdoor. Because China's government is doing this to us, everybody in the world, where the product goes. They always assume that we do the same to them. That's why they're so scared. Would Elon Musk steal data from China, from this, city, which will hold all those private meetings among those senior leaders, older leaders, and who just mastermind everything, all the power in the next 5 years among themselves? I would say no. Why would Elon Musk do that? What is his motivation? Could the American, government just force him to do so? Think about it. What would be his reaction? He's going to sue them. He's going to refuse and then sue them. Our Constitution, U.S. law, does not authorize government to ask or force or coerce a company like a Tesla to collect data for them. So, as a matter of fact, Elon Musk already said, this is his word, he said Tesla cars did not spy in China or anywhere else, and that the company would be shut down if it did so. And Tesla further said that all data generated by cars in China, it sells in China, would be stored in the country. So if you want to ask me that, does Elon Musk say the truth, or the Tesla say the truth? I would say yes. Why do they want to steal those data? Let alone those senior party, just the Politburo's, data from China through the Tesla. Chances are no. I cannot say, well, absolutely not. Okay. I think 99% no. Yeah. So, but this is the reason. Okay. They steal data all the time, everywhere, throughout the years. They know data theft is so scary. So they're so afraid. Now they allow this Tesla to come in and establish a factory in China. It's solely owned by, Elon Musk. Without their partnership, they cannot steal the technology. And then with those manufactured Tesla, which is essentially computer on wheel, moving around in China, they're afraid. They said they must do the same as we did, stealing all the data nonstop. But we cannot stop them because U.S. never, was able to stop us. So that's the scare they have. Okay, so really what it reveals is how scared CCP and how prevalent their digital theft is. All right, do you agree with me? Does that help? Leave a comment there, and I want to read that and respond to you. Now, this first piece of news. The second piece of news at the the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum yesterday. This is a showcase pretty much event being held this year with this time with almost no Western participation. Russian President Putin spoke times again to the themes of the Russians, sovereignty in the new global order. He spoke for pretty long, 73 minutes, and he said Russia's soldiers were fighting to defend Russia's own right, quote, right to secure development. And Putin said, we are strong people and we can cope with any challenge. Like our ancestor, we will resolve any problem. So he's quite assertive, as Putin reaffirmed his determination to continue the special military operations in Ukraine. And Putin also said that the United States consider itself, hear me out, United States consider itself God's emissary on earth, and that Russia was taking its place in the new world order, whose rule would be set by strong and sovereign states. Putin called the campaign in Ukraine the action of a sovereign country. that has the right to defend its security and accused the West of active military appropriation of the Ukraine territory. Well, how much that is true, you can judge by yourself. But Putin also said strikes against residential area were crimes against humanity in the war, in his special military operation. And shortly before Putin was due to begin speaking, actually, his spokesperson said a denial of service cyber attack happened and disabled the forum's system, and then forcing him to delay his speech by about an hour. And at the end of his speech, he showed a video speech, okay, by China's president, precisely CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping. And in that video address, Xi Jinping praised the China-Russia cooperation, underlined Putin's contention that the era of U.S. domination is at an end. Okay, so what's the takeaway? I would say the recent weakness of the U.S., especially in Afghanistan, really, and also like U.S.'s negotiation or talk with China in Anchorage, Alaska, and so on and so forth, showing that we are not strong. Okay, we're not strong enough. So Xi Jinping now got this conception, which is a misconception. Okay, misconception that U.S. is waning. It's waning. I think he overread it, but he firmly believes so because he's the supreme leader. Nobody dares to tell him what's the truth. And somehow, and now Xi Jinping and Putin is patting each other's back and saying that, by us joining hands together, we are another polar of the world. U.S. is waning. Xi Jinping like to say this 东升西降, which is the rise of the East and the fall of the West. That's now is the slogan he mentioned all the time, and in public speech, in private speech, in his published articles, he said the rise of the East and the fall of the West. So with such a strong rise of China, and then if he unite with Russia, the largest country in terms of areas, they view they are strong enough to compete with the U.S. and U.S. allies. This is really in their mind. And if you say, well, yeah, they are strong enough, but what I will tell you that as someone who from China, who report China, they overread it. Okay, they overestimate their strength and they underestimate the strength of the United States. By assuming this position, they are inviting the strong action from the U.S., even not yet from this administration, but they're still creating their own adversary. That's what I would say. But anyway, that's Putin's speech yesterday, as FYI, and he will continue his campaign in the Donbass area. And after he got that area, he most likely will be pushing on. And while U.S. is feeding Ukraine with all the weapons, so it will be dragged out war, and we'll see how things go. Okay, the next piece of news has to do with remember the University of Pennsylvania swimmer, okay, Leah Thomas made headlines for winning the 400-meter freestyle at a NCAA division, the competition, and he won the national champion by dominating the women's swimming teams as a transgender athlete. This is in March 2022 of this year. So after that win, you remember the photo, right? And the Leah Thomas is so big, standing on the left, and the two weak girl standing in the middle and to the right, and they doesn't quite want to even look into the eyes of the Leah Thomas. So it's a very absurd thing and awkward thing. Anyway, so Leah Thomas triggered a national debate since then, and now the FINA is acronym for abbreviation for an organization that regulated the swimming sports. It's in French. Anyway, so FINA said after several months consideration, now they have decided that the new policy, okay, he said the gender inclusion policy will only permit swimmers who transitioned before the age of 5 to compete in women's events. All right. So FINA members voted 72% in favor of this new policy. So basically, people like Leah Thomas would not get any chance to do to do what he did in March because he transitioned his sex after 12. So, well, the FINA also said there's also a proposal for a new, so-called the new competition policy. Organization said it's setting up a new working group that will spend the next 6 months looking at the most effective ways to set up this new category. Open competition. What does that mean? Women and men just freely join. And anyway, we all understand, right? They don't want to offend the LGBT community. So they come up with this, got something, just stay and see, that type of thing. Well, the key takeaway is that they indeed saying that they won't allow transgender swimmer to join the women's sports. So what do you think? Next thing is Texas state Republican hold their convention in the last weekend, and they spoke out, on a set of very, very sensitive issues. And then, okay, how sensitive? Sensitive enough for us to do this on Safe Chat. How about that? So if you can, please, let's just now move over to Safe Chat, and then we will be talking about this next issue over there. And so if you can, please come over to Safe Chat. So our backend staff will be posting the Safe Chat link down there. When you see it, please just click on it and get over there. And I'll give ourselves a little time, like 10 to 15 seconds, so that you can do that, and making sure follow way to the new platform.